And we thank God.
Yeah, I'm sure Lagos is bright and sunny.
Lagos is always bright and sunny.
That means the rains have not started in Lagos yet then.
You said?
Have the rains started, the rain?
Yeah, the rain has started, but irrespective of that, the sun will always shine.
You guys are lucky now. Sometimes Abuja rain comes like a tornado sometimes, removing people's roofs and all that, but by and large.
It happens once in a while too in Lagos, but I don't know how regular it is in Abuja.
Okay.
Thank you so much. How frequently. All right.
Yeah, it's so nice to meet you finally. And
Same here.
I really want to say a very big thank you for taking out time. I know that for you to engage someone in Lagos for a meeting, that you are not paying for his time, Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
I'll quickly introduce myself, then I would start off with you introducing yourself. I have a couple of questions actually with respect to the REIT issue and also crowdfunding for real estate. And I'm sure that from your profile, I think I stumbled on your website and I picked up a lot of information. I can't remember I think it's what is real estate? I can't remember.
What real estate means.
Yes, what real estate means, yeah. So there were some blog posts on crowdfunding. There was also another one on REITs, and I feel that today's conversation would really enrich the discourse around some of these innovations in real estate investment, basically.
All right.
Yes, sir. So my name is Obo Joseph. I'm hosting this particular event for Hartfield TV called the Investment Code. Basically, what we hope to achieve through the Investment Code is to see how we can talk to industry experts, people who have experience within the investment cycle and, of course, the real estate investment cycle as well, and also to bring that information to the public domain so that people will be better informed as to what they need to do. More like basic information that is not necessarily out there. Our goal is to put that information out as much as possible. So I'm extremely grateful to have you, Mr. Jide, today. And I hope that the next 45 minutes to 1 hour, by the grace of God, would be very useful for our audience. So thank you once again, sir. So can we meet you, sir? Can we meet you?
My name is Jide Oluwade. I'm an estate surveyor. But being an estate surveyor, I just decided to look outside just buying and selling and management of properties. Then the buying aspects, I thought of just looking at, okay, how could people invest from just buying the traditional way? You understand? As in just like, normally people just, if you don't have all the money, you cannot buy. So how do you like crowdfund or invest through REITs and things like that? Other forms of investment for people, most especially in the real estate sector, which I belong to.
Okay, sir. But basically, how did you, you said you're an estate surveyor, so I can understand why real estate
I have a real estate background.
Yes, you already have that background. And not every real estate investor, not every estate surveyor might necessarily be into the business of real estate itself, because the estate surveyor role or specific functions are quite different from, the investment aspect of it. Do you have any investment background? Have you put your money in the sector itself?
Put my money in the sector itself, as in investing in the sector itself.
Yes, sir.
The angle where I'll look at it is, when we're talking about REITs and crowdfunding, they're actually kind of, I'll not say new, but they're kind of new in the Nigerian sphere. So you have to understand it. At the beginning of this my quest, as in trying to get into it, I did a certification in financial advice. So while
Wow.
at it, um, I had I had a discussion with one or two friends, more like let me say we kind of hold our backs, try to check, okay, this thing you're into, look at it from all angles, pros, cons, you understand things like that. Okay, check. If you check REITs in Nigeria, for example, you probably just have like one that is actually functioning and progressing well. Do you
Yeah.
understand? The other ones have one issue or the other. So even while trying to build a platform around it, I had to be learning. So in investing, I had to be, I had to make sure that I was doing, I, I, I was learning and investing
At the
not
same.
at the same time, something like that.
Yeah.
So you have to be, one has to be very careful with it. You see a lot of numbers out there. You see a lot of analysis out there. Sorry, I'm sorry, a lot of numbers and analysis, and you wonder where these people got their data from to arrive here. You understand? And you're like, you that you're even in the sector, you're trying to understand it, you're trying to work with it, grow with it, grow with it. I mean, is okay, trying to um, build the sector, but work with other investors, people from other. You just be like, I don't know where you people are getting your. Like somebody will tell you, I'm just giving an example. ROI
Yes.
30% in 2 months. How did you arrive there?
Okay.
No, really, it baffles me, baffles me. But
Except
the
maybe
issue, the issue, sorry, I just have to say that. The issue is because they're not really data, real estate data in the open around. So it's what people are fed. Do you
yeah.
understand? And because it's a known fact, real estate investments always appreciate. So when they come with you to you with okay, they are giving you ROI 30%, but okay, then they come with um then they come with real estate never depreciates in value and stuff like that. So people buy into it. So it's
Yeah.
more of a learning and it's more of a learning. It's been more of learning for me.
Okay,
So
sir. Yeah. Just for the purpose of our viewers, and of course, our viewers who are on Facebook and also on this platform, Zoom, I just would like to know, in a nutshell, what is REITs itself? What, because there's a lot of, sometimes there's some level of confusion between REITs and crowdfunding. Many people don't necessarily understand what the differences are. So I would like you to throw more light on what REITs is and the difference between REITs and crowdfunding in real estate.
okay, REIT is more like buying stocks. Let me put it in a try to bring it to like a layman's. Sorry to use that word. A layman, explain to a layman, is more like buying stocks in real estate, as in like stocks in the stock market. So you're buying into real estate. You're buying stocks, but you're buying it in real estate this time. Crowdfunding platforms are more like you have. I'm trying to bring it
Yes, sir.
mm, more like okay. There's a platform. What I understand it to be um, is not what I'm seeing operating in Nigeria presently. But what I understand it to be is you have a platform like I use an example of Fundrise in
Okay.
America. They have a platform. Let's say you are a builder, you want to build a property, you bring it to their platform. Let's say they want to raise, I'm giving an example, 30 million naira. People would, they have a choice of, okay, I'll crowdfund with maybe people that want to build in Magodo, for example, or I'll crowdfund with people in Victoria Island. But in the case of REITs, you don't get to choose, because it's a company is a company that chooses what they invest. Well, you wouldn't have to know what they're investing your money in. You just know you're buying stock into this company, they're into real estate, and you get a 90% of the turnover. They give out 90% of the turnover at the end of the year to their investors.
Okay. Okay.
So that's the difference. One you get to choose, one you just invest in your stocks, and one is more regulated than the other. I'm not saying there's no regulation for stock for crowd funding, but REIT is more regulated than crowdfunding. Though
But
Nigerian, do we what?
Do we have are people engaging in crowdfunding in real estate in Nigeria? Are there traces of companies that are already doing that presently?
I've seen companies trying to do it. I've seen one or two, then they fizzle out. There's one I'm trying to understand the way they're operating presently. But the one or two that I've seen in the past that fizzled out, maybe they didn't understand it, or maybe it was the technology they were using behind it. See, that's why I told you it has been more of a learning process for me.
Yes, sir.
So that you know, okay, this is how this can work. This is how this can work. I was able to identify with REITs that, okay, there's one, let's say, surviving REITs. The others are just like struggling. There was a REIT that came up last year that I followed and got involved with. Okay, let me put it like this. For a REIT structure to really survive, it has to kind of like let me use the word transcend. It's a real estate company, and they have projects that they've delivered, and they become a trusted name. So they can say, okay, we want to go into the stock market, we want to trade. But most REITs that are being built in Nigeria are more like they don't have any foundation. As in, most have not been into, they don't have any construction company, they're not developers, they're not into real estate. So you just want to build a platform out of nowhere. I'll give examples here. UPDC is surviving as one of the best REITs. I have to mention names.
Yes, sir.
Because they've always had, it's UAC property development. They've always had the background of real estate. So it was easy for them to transit into the stock market and build their REITs with it. But you're coming now, you're saying, okay, I'll give an example. Let me say, my name is Jide Oluwade, and I say, okay, I want to open Jide Oluwade REIT Investment Trust. Do you understand? And I have not built any property before. You don't understand.
You don't even have access to any developer.
You understand? It's just, so I'm now saying, okay, bring funds. Okay, maybe because I have friends in high places. Okay, bring funds. We gather the funds, then we don't know what to do with the funds. Because at the end of the day, most properties that you will need immediately you start collecting the funds, you have to start more like giving back the dividends. So I'm just collecting money. That means I'm going to start from the scratch. I'm going to just start building, getting properties and stuff. Okay, getting occupancies and getting my properties occupied, and before you know it, maybe the first year, second year, I'm not delivering any dividend back to my subscribers or people that bought my stock. So we're all stuck together. So it's more of like,
you've actually painted a very scary picture, because if for example a company that is trying to engage with this whole REITs platform and all that does not have any real estate background, they don't have any properties on ground. Those properties, even if they have properties on ground, the properties have not been subscribed to. So where do they now generate this inflow from?
And you see, that's why kind of, even if you're investing in stocks and bonds, you still have to do some background checks on what you're doing. Are you getting? That's why I said, when I see some data, okay, just see data, somebody's telling you this or somebody's telling you that, and you're like, okay, yes, you have the funds. Are you getting it? Okay, let me put funds here, because they say real estate always appreciates. But try to, even if it's just 5 minutes, take 5 minutes to understand what you're getting yourself into. For starters, that's why you have Google. Yeah. Do you understand? A minute or two to learn what you want to do or what you're getting yourself into is not too much. And that's what brought about real estate investment, what real estate means. I try to break it down. So I talk about majorly what real estate is, as in the basis. I will talk about mortgage, but I try to just note it with investors. Okay, this is what crowdfunding is about. This is what the platform should look like. This is what you should expect from the platform. The information is out there, but people just like the trigger of it appreciates, and everybody's ready. And when you're in the middle of it, you understand. You're all stuck together. The person that collected the money too, the person that collected the money too, he too is not going to, he's going to find it hard explaining to you too, or the company is going to find that explaining to you that, okay, this is what we did with your funds.
Yeah. So in essence, I think one of the things that you've mentioned basically is that it's important to have that property development background. It's more sustainable when you already have properties, on ground. You are a developer. You understand the entire real estate value chain. It's much better to have all that before you now start chasing new funds. Because also what I've gathered from what you've said as well is that funding is not the most important thing. Getting people to invest, to put money into that REITs and all that might not necessarily be the first way to go without properties on ground. I don't know if that's...
Yeah, I understand what you mean, but what I'm trying to say is you have to have a structure. Okay, I was talking about a REIT that started last year, and I noticed something. Yes, they were just starting, but they were starting with already existing. I was in commercial real estate, so they didn't have the property, but they were working with structures that were already existing. They were not just coming out from nowhere. So it's more of, you have to have a structure. You have to have properties on ground. You have to have what to work with to be able to move ahead. It's not as if, well, most that I have tried understuding that didn't have a structure didn't work, because even abroad, you can't even start. Okay, well, there are private REITs. Even with private REITs, you have to be a real estate company.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand? You have to have a structure on ground. You don't just, it's like you want to build a house, you don't have a foundation, and you're laying blocks. It's going to fizzle out. It's not standing on anything.
Yeah.
It's not standing on anything.
To even buttress on what you said, it's there is also a responsibility on the regulator, for example, to be able to check up on some of all these facts, so as to ensure that people's funds are actually safe. Then aside that, the education of the public, I don't know who is really taking that up, and that's one of the things that this platform is trying to really put into place. People have to understand their investment options when it comes to real estate investments and all that. Then just as an aside, would you say REITs is a perfect system, or are there certain issues that you personally have with the structure of REITs in itself?
No, REITs from where we're importing the ideas, as in from I've worked. We just need to get the structures right here to get it right. Now, when you're talking about the regulators are working fine. So even to the extent of they have to come out with laws for even crowdfunding. Do you understand? But what I see is that most of all these things that people even call REITs, and in the cases of REITs that made it to like the stock, I wouldn't say they made it to the stock market, but I would just say like REITs that raised a lot of capital but fizzled out because it was regulated. The investors got their money back.
Wow.
Do you understand? But there's some REITs. You just see somebody. I've seen a lot of ideas that people come up with and they call REITs, and I'm like, okay. And you see one or two people saying they're investing in it, and before you know it, that's never got to the notice of the the regulators. So you're not even, because they didn't even come out with it to even reach the level of taking it to SEC. You can't blame SEC for that.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Mm-hmm.
Very true.
Then even crowdfunding. You see some mushroom crowdfunding that maybe they just have a link to it, and maybe they're having people investing in it. Like I told you, the way it's structured, the way I see it structured, I've not seen those kind of structures here in Nigeria. So I wouldn't even call what is being done with crowdfunding in Nigeria presently.
Yeah.
Apologies to those that are doing it, or those that are doing it that I don't know that they have a well-placed structure.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing the kind of structure that will stand the test of time.
I've heard you mention structure, in fact, in the last 2 minutes, more than 10 times. What is this structure?
You have to have a structure now. No, but you understand what I mean by structure.
I know, but for the purpose of our viewers.
Okay. You have to have your data. You have to have for example, let me go back to REITs. When we're talking about structure with REITs, we're talking about you have to be into real estate. You have to have a financial background. In still building the structure, you have to be involved with the regulators. And you're not just going to them to just go and tell them, I want to start a REIT. You're going to go with figures, with numbers of what you have done, what you want to do. You understand? So that's what I mean by building the structure before even moving out.
Yes, sir. Then anyways, now I just want to ask some questions around equity, the use of equity funding, and maybe debt, for example. Some people believe that you want to start this kind of a project instead of, is it a good idea? Is it a good idea to go to the banks, for example? Somebody wants to start a REIT platform. Is the funding aspect of it now, the funds that come in that will be injected in the property development aspect of that particular REIT now, is it advisable that the bank is even an option for people to accept loans? Or is it better to rely solely on investors' funds, you know.
I get your point. But see, to fill the purse of any business, as in my own understanding of it, there has to be, it involves both having debt and equity. There has to be a balance to it. Do you get it?
Yes,
If
sir.
they are going to check the financial health of your organization, they're going to check how your equity is going and how your debts are going. You're not just going to, there has to be a balance to it. It's a there's a two-way thing to it in every organization. Okay, what's your equity, and what's your debt? How are you paying off the debt and stuffs like that? There's a balance to it. There's not just all about, okay, yes, you rely on investors, yes, but you still need, um is a little of both sides.
Yeah, but the way, particularly the way Nigeria is, the high rates of maybe loans, for example, with financial institutions
There's
and all
no
that.
way, sorry to cut you short. There's no way you're going to build that kind of structure that will not be a little of both sides.
Okay, okay, that means as far as you are concerned,
They
equity
have
and
to,
debt
no,
financing
they have to,
both must be
it's
married
used to
together.
feel, yes, it's used to feel the health of whatever you're doing.
Sorry, I
Might
didn't get
just be a
that.
little of, I said, is used to feel the health, the financial health of whatever you're getting into.
Okay. So if for example, let's be under the assumption now that, let's say you wanted to start a REIT now, for example, what would be the best starting point if somebody were to go into REITs? What's the first thing, or the first three things that you would advise that person to do before the person even starts thinking of maybe having to go and file documentation and all that with the Securities and Exchange Commission? What are those three key things that if the person doesn't put into consideration, it might just be like the others that have already fizzled out?
Uh, when you say three things, I'll just sum it up to one. You have to
Okay.
do your homework. The homework comprising of, okay, um, the types of properties. Firstly, the types of properties you want to get into, and basically what I've seen, and it's still part of the homework, either abroad or here, that works is with commercial real estate. You can go into residential real estate, but what really works is with commercial real estate. But with COVID and stuff, there might be some issues now, but commercial real estate. But you have to have, it's not just, um, it's not just a day's thought or a month's thought that, okay, I want to go into it. You wake up in the morning and you start calling your money bags and, okay, let's go with it. You have to have a solid plan. That's why I said I put it into one. You have to have a solid plan. Okay, plan A, plan B, this there, this there. I'm not going to say beating the regulations and stuff is going to be easy, but what I'm saying is you have to have a tight plan, which entails a lot. Your data analyzed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You have to do
One
I
of
even
the
have to
things.
go and speak to, you might even go and try to analyze those rates that have failed and what made it fail and stuff like that.
Okay, I think that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Another thing I wanted to know is the real estate market, for example, in Lagos. I know that Lagos is having, there's a boom in that sector, but I wouldn't really know whether that sector is actually, whether it's dwindling or whether it's rising. Can you educate us on real estate in Lagos? Are people buying? Do we have more buying? Is it a buyer's market now? Is there a lot of injection of funds in that sector in Lagos, or Are we having some level of, are there more empty houses than filled homes?
You use the word that is very funny to me. And sorry to say that. You said a buyer's market. In real estate in Nigeria, do we have a buyer's market? Let's face it. Do we have a buyer's market or a seller's market? As in, there's a word important that I try to understand. Okay, so what's buyer's market now? Okay, the buyers are buying, they have money. Okay. And when you're saying buying, what are they buying into?
Yeah.
Particularly in real estate. Are you getting it? Are they buying properties in Ikoyi, or they are just buying properties in sorry to make that kind of comparison in Ibejuleki? Do you understand? Yeah. So it's not going to be fair to compare buying in Ibejuleki and buying in so what would you say the boom is?
Yeah, that's what I really want to know. And how do you measure that really?
I'll need you to help me measure it. Because you are the one that came with the buyer's market. You're the one that came with that word. And I was trying to understand, okay, where are the buyers buying from? I'm not going to measure it. I'm just saying, okay, we all know the complexity of our economy presently. We all know the complexity of buying into real estate and how the structure is. So I'll just leave it at that. There's a complexity and everybody's just trying to move around it.
That means people are moving, those that are in the north are moving in the northern, people are just moving in different directions where
you buy where you can afford.
All right, I think that makes a whole lot of sense. Basically, it makes a whole lot of sense. I was also thinking, you already answered the question anyways when you said that REITs is more inclined to commercial real estate than the residential real estate. The answer is obvious actually, but I wanted to just talk more on that distinction between commercial real estate and residential real estate. What makes commercial more prone to what makes it easier for people to deal on commercial real estate properties than the residential one?
Okay, well, thank God you said it already. But in Nigeria, commercial, because you'll be dealing more with corporate tenants, as in commercial real estate. Rents are paid as a when due, so you know how to factor out things like that. In residential, I'm not saying people don't buy properties or they don't pay their rent as a when due or stuff like that, but it's just easier because I'll use the word regulated now again, because commercial real estate is kind of more regulated and more conformed than a residential properties. Okay. More conformed to what you want to do.
Okay, then I was also thinking because I had the opportunity of speaking with should I say a friend? Let me just say a colleague, basically, and we had this argument around, because the angle from which he was looking at this whole REIT issue was, he was just looking at it from the branding aspect. Like, you have to ensure that your branding is right. Your branding has to communicate X, Y, and Z. He necessarily did not even touch on, the developer aspect of things, even the funding aspect of things. So in your own analysis, on a scale of whatever measurement that you want to actually use, how do you place branding in the scheme of things?
I'm not saying branding doesn't work. Okay, let me just ask a very simple question. If you were going to open a bank account, for example, you're opening a bank account, and just your normal self, forget the brand of this bank or that bank or whatever. Forget that even you're going to do any analysis about the banks and as in-depth analysis of the bank. Are you not going to just sit back for a second and think, okay, which bank is working? Which bank is okay? If I deposit my money here, I'm not going to hear stories maybe in the next 6 months when I need it. Let's just imagine you just want to keep it for like 6 months. Which are you going to do? You are going to actually look at the branding of the bank or the safety of your funds.
Yeah.
It's a very simple question. So I'm not saying branding doesn't work, but which are you really going to have thought about? Or which one are you really going to think about? The brand or the safety of your phone?
How do I answer this now? The fact, one of the things I'm actually thinking of basically is that the brand is important, but the brand is not the main thing. But
And that's what I'm telling you. I'm not saying I didn't say the brand. I didn't say you don't have to brand yourself. What if you are branding nothing? I'm sorry to say that. When you are practically branding nothing, you understand? As in, there's no leverage here. There's nothing here. You're just like you're just coming out and you have see. I mean, you haven't seen a lot of branding being done that when you maybe get to the company and whatever, the services and whatever that is given to you, you are very, very, you're like, I didn't expect this from all the branding that they have. So yes, branding is very important, but the services you are giving is much more important than the brand.
Yeah, we have the environment is very noisy now. There's a whole lot of noise, and it will only take people that want to put in the extra work to go beyond all the noise to really be able to find out about the state of health of companies and all of that. And of course, a lot of companies necessarily will not be obligated to put out information about their maybe public domain in that sense. So even if, for example,
okay, I'm listening.
So how does somebody move past branding? How do you really move past branding to now make that decision that okay, this is what I actually want to deal with? When necessarily you don't have all that finance, like you talked about data, that there's not much of data related out there for people to be able to make up their minds and take decisions and all that. So most times it's the branding that comes first. So when people look at the brand, okay, they are online, their billboards are everywhere, things like that. But information about the state of that particular company is actually not the public domain per se, except beautiful logos, beautiful ads out there, and things like that. So how can people move past branding? Because I know that a lot of people have got stuck with a lot of real estate investments here and there because of the branding, and the branding issues and all that. And when they now get into that, and they now realize that it's like they've been sold the wrong plan. So how can we move past branding?
I'll put it in two ways. I'll say talk to a professional, but make sure it's a third party. You can talk to a third party that might have an idea of what you want to get into. I would have said I would not want to advertise for Google again by saying you should go and use Google. But with Google itself, you get a lot of mixed up. But you can just find a professional to talk to, a third party, not somebody involved with that company, not somebody that has anything to do with that company at all, but somebody that has more. Let me use the word enlightenment about what you get a more. It doesn't have. You should have like a confidence, somebody, or just look for somebody far away. So maybe if you don't want to tell people that how to put this kind of money into, how Nigerians can be. I'm sorry. As in, maybe they'll be like, if I tell Joseph now that I want to invest 5 million, Joseph will think I have money. So don't let me tell Joseph. So they just gonna put their money. Okay, if you don't want to tell Joseph, okay, drive like 50 kilometers away to somewhere somebody doesn't know you. You understand? But talk to somebody that has a knowledge of what you're trying to get into. So when I has in-depth knowledge of what you're trying to get into. So the person can be able to put you through, okay, this is right, you can get this right, and stuff like that.
Yeah, because why I asked that question, there was a transaction with, I think a couple of years ago. That was where I had my own experience of losing money. It was a beautiful investment idea, but what now happened was the guy knew that the company was holding up. He knew that they were having a lot of financial issues, but he was more focused on the interest that they were going to.
Of course, he was more focused on the commission that he wanted to get. That's why I said a third party, not somebody involved in that transaction at all. I would tell a friend of mine that wants to do a transaction with me. See, these are the documents. Go and do your search on your own. Do you get it? On your own. Do it outside of me. I might just be telling you what I know because I want to make, yes, everybody wants to make money, but just gotta do it on your own. And I tell friends, see, okay, you want to get into a transaction, guy, you have 5,000 naira there. You'll be like, what do you mean by do you have 5,000 naira? If I tell you, say, make you give me 5,000 naira now, should be you give me, give me 5,000 naira or something. Let's go to land. Do you understand? I'm just talking about real estate transactions normally now. Let's go to lands. Just do just one check. If it's thorough, they will tell you. If it's not thorough, it's very simple. Do you understand? Save yourself millions that you will spend. Do you understand? From just spending 5,000 naira or thereabout.
Yeah. In fact, to further buttress this, a very good friend of mine, he wanted to purchase a property in Abuja here, and it happened that he had followed the agent and the supposed owner of the place. He even know they took him to the guy's house. I'm sure that's not the guy's house, but they just packaged. When they now went to the land, the guy was not like, "Let's put it on my land." He started breaking blocks around the place. The guy came back to me and was like, he's very sure that guy, for him to even be breaking blocks, for him to take him to his house, that transaction must be a correct transaction. And I said, as a legal practitioner, I will have to advise you. You cannot just run off. You cannot just run off and just conclude that a land is genuine because you met the supposed owner. When he got there, he was breaking that people pushed on his land. I said, do the best to go and do a search.
Me, sir, if you do that kind of drama for me, I'll know there's something of how would I come to your land, and is that minutes that you now see people there, you now start breaking the block.
You know what happened at the end of the day? I now introduce him to somebody that can help him to run a search. The guy was just shouting. He said, "This is a fake document. Oh, this document is totally fake." He now had to come back and I said, "You wanted to go and spend almost 8 to 9 million on something that solve your problem." And it was so.
You understand? You understand?
So I think even with the risk thing, individuals have that. You have that duty to be able to double check. You need to double check the companies out there. You need to put them out. The time it took you to raise maybe 50 million or 20 million or even 100,000, I'm sure the person must have not made that money. Even if you made that money in one day, you still say, okay, how do I do my due diligence on this company? Who do I talk to? How can I get them out? And I think that at the end of the day, that will be resolving a lot of issues and challenges that people are having, within the real estate investment space.
Yeah.
Talk to a professional for me it's like a key thing that you've said. It's not like I want to do a lot of PR for you, but I just want you to let us know, what services do you offer? What are some of those things that people can reach out to you for? If you can let us know that, it's really be nice.
Like I said, I'm an estate surveyor with a financial advisory background. So I would not say I do everything real estate, but it's possible for me to do everything real estate. I'm just I do real estate and learning with it. And I don't want to start mentioning like maybe agency and stuff like that, because I do documentation too, if need be, and things like that. But I do real estate. I try to get involved in real estate disruption too. I call this blockchain technology in real estate, which would enhance things like REITs and real estate crowdfunding and stuff.
Yeah, I'm really
just a real estate practitioner.
Yeah, that's really nice. We would see how we can crop some aspects of these videos and maybe send you short clips of this particular conversation. And I wouldn't know if anyone on the show has any questions, if there are any questions that you'd like to ask Mr. Jide, so that we can take that before we all go out of here.
Good morning, Jide, morning, Joseph.
Good morning, sir.
I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you, sir.
Okay, there's this question that has been, sorry, I don't know if you've talked on this. I joined in a bit late, sorry about that. But there's this question that has been bugging my mind, especially on REITs investment. Now, we know that investment in real estate, before it gets to maturation, you might have to do 3-4 years. I mean, if you're building from scratch, it might take you like 3-4 years, to get to the end of it, and before you begin to get investments on that asset, even if you are buying. So like I'm thinking, okay, you take it to the stock exchange and you register that REIT and all that. You have investors that have put in their monies and all. So now you say, okay, I want to do a shopping mall, for instance, in a particular location. So, oh, you want me to start my video? Okay. You have a particular location you want to set up. By the time you do all that building and all, you might do, let's say, 4 or 5 years, as the case may be. Now, what stopgap do you have to at least let your subscribers or investors earn dividends while you're waiting for that property to get on the market? And I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to ask.
No, I totally understand you. I think if I'm getting you right, you're saying, okay, you want to start a reach from the scratch. So you have subscribers, you have investors, and I think what I spoke about it earlier is that's sorry to say, that's one of the reasons why we've been getting, or rather, in my studying REITs in Nigeria, that's one of the reasons why we've been getting it wrong, because most of them try to start from the scratch.
Okay.
And by the end of the first year, the investors are already expecting their dividends back. You understand? So by the second year, if they're not getting anything, then they're getting frustrated. They want their funds back. So there's he was saying, I was mentioning a lot of I was talking about structures. That's why I say there has to be a structure on ground. Even if you are not going to, let's say you want to start from scratch, why not start from the scratch of working with properties that are already on ground? Okay. Even maybe tenanted properties, you understand? Buy into them. Let your investors know that is what you're buying into.
Yes.
That's why you need to raise. Hello?
Engineer
That's why
Tayo,
you need
can you mute?
that's why you need to raise as much as that amount of money. But if you are going to start from like nothing, it's going to be very, very hard. That's why I'm maybe off record. I've understudied some REITs that they were able to raise a lot of money.
Okay.
They were able to raise a lot of money, but it didn't work out because they were starting from scratch. That's why you only have, let's say, in the Nigerian stock exchange market now, the only, maybe practically the only listed REITs that you will see that is at least doing a bit well, not that is doing well, let me use it, is
UPDC?
UPDC.
Okay.
Because they had structures on ground. UPDC was already a property company before
Before
it
they
got
got registered
listed.
and all that. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anthony, for the question. I wouldn't know with us here. I do have a question for Ajay.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Well done, now.
Fine, thank you, sir.
Well done, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I just need to say one or two things regarding REIT.
Okay,
I
sir.
really I appreciate the contribution from Mr. G. Fantastic one. Just to add to what Mr. Anthony just asked, the question he asked for about is the issue of the stopgap. Why we are just like what Mr. Jide said, most of the REITs, they don't have anything on ground. And for you to start with, like, let me use Hartfield as an example. There are some things on ground. Land on ground, they are both Lagos and in Abuja there. Before we could, for you to fly, even at SEC will ask you a few questions. They want to inspect what you have on ground. Because before you be listed, you must pass through SEC a little bit. Hello, are you with me?
Yes, we're with you, sir.
Hello?
We're
Yes,
with
sir.
you,
Go
sir.
ahead.
We can hear you, sir.
Now, before the SEC will ask you few questions. SEC will no longer, most of the people practicing it nowadays, nothing, no structure on ground. Couple of 6 months, a year, invest and the interest promise. But as in regards present rate, that's the only one quoted now, presently, the Nigerian Stock Exchange now, presently. But as for the other one, we still have some investment houses that still register with SEC, because SEC is still agreeing with you because REIT is part of the product. Product is a product, not that will be listed, but it can be registered with Security and Exchange Commission as well. So I don't have much to, just a few things I just want to put is that basically part of the problem inside this street, and most of the investors are looking at that. There is no, what I say, that the patient, everybody within 2-3 months, you want something back like that. It's not like we have fantastic ideas. There was one guy I met one time ago. If you see the business plan for that, for him on that, fantastic, but for you to fly in this country, it's like that. If you are in Lagos, I don't know whether some of you are in Lagos. You know that it's with this Alade Mall. I don't know whether you have heard about this Alade Mall in Ikeja here.
Mall, sir.
Hello.
Alade Mall in Ikeja.
Alade Mall, Allen Avenue.
Yeah.
Hello.
We can hear you, sir.
Yes. You know, it's yes. Somehow funded is around, yes, around that level. No, they have the same structure like the whole thing is still on someone like REIT. Because many investors, in fact, presently now there are some insights in-house issues regarding the whole thing, because people are expecting the fund now. People are expecting return. So many people can no longer decide they went as not as that, you know. You can face issue of, like said, issue of land development. So much that's like flying around the country.
Having some technical issues in terms of sound. But Mr. Jide, you want to entire your perspective on some of the challenges we are facing, implementation of the whole range. I don't know if you have any final thoughts on from what you said.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I don't know whether we can have Tajide's contact from here. Joseph, is that possible? Can we have his contact?
We can getting you Mr. Jide, are you fine with that?
Yes, no problem.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So I would make sure I have it. I'm sure we all registered with our data so that we can send that information out across.
Yeah.
Oh well, I don't think I did that.
Okay, so
No.
maybe your contact detail in the chat box.
Please, I'll appreciate that, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, sir.
We're almost rounding this session off, and this is an initiative of Hartfield Investment. It's a company that definitely has a risk mandate and wants to engage within the risk real estate investments, basically. And it's really nice, at least, to have perspective from Mr. Jide Oluwade today. We appreciate
Thank you very much.
We appreciate your time. We didn't have to pay you to join us today, but the knowledge that you have brought to this is immeasurable. And we really appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Anthony, for also joining us.
Thank you.
Engineer Tayo, much respect. Thank you so much, sir. He's my very one Oga. So he's my boss actually. So, and I'm happy that he was able to have time. Not saying much more. Any final words before we wrap this up?
My final word is it's been a nice time here. Thank you, everybody, and I hope to learn more too, and well, maybe have this discussion again some other time.
All right, sir. Thanks a whole lot.
Right. Thank you very much. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.